this fabulous February Friday, last Friday in February. And I'm hopping on here with my friend, Elisa Bugertz. And we are doing something fun together. We're supporting entrepreneurs together in a giveaway, and it's going on right now. So we will post the link below on this particular live. But you guys, you know that I'm always about like win, 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 leverage, leverage, leverage. So we are also just going to have some really meaningful chat, not just talking about the giveaway, but also talking about Lisa and what kind of cool things she's up to and who she helps and who she serves and what she does. Because we're going to create some cool content as well. So Elisa, hey, thanks for taking time on this fabulous last Friday in February to hop on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm glad we could do this live. I was like, as soon as you did it, I like hopped on the opportunity. I'm like, yes,
I know you were like the first person online. And by the way, I owe you an apology. So I'm just going to do it publicly. You and I were on the marketers cruise, and I think we passed each other at the ice cream station like twice on the, the entire cruise. And it was because I had an upper respiratory something, and I was kind of concerned it might be the dreaded you know what virus, and so I just stayed in my room most of the time. So
I know, I was wondering that. I was like, I haven't seen you at all. And it was, yeah, it was like
I know everybody's like, where'd you go? And I was like, just not getting you sick. And then I was sitting at tables and people were like, hey, and I was like, stay back. You know, like, they're like, you're being such a B word. And I was like, no, actually, I am loving you with every ounce of my being that I needed to eat. So anyway, but I'm sorry we didn't get to connect, but now we're connecting here. So,
yes.
So that's good stuff. So, Elisa, who are you? What do you do and why?
So I am a launch strategist and project manager, and I help them strategize and plan their launches. And I coordinate with either with themselves if they're like a solopreneur or with their teams, and to help everybody get everything done that needs to happen for a launch. There's so much to do, and it can be really overwhelming. And like when I put together a plan, it's like almost 300 or more tasks long, which can be just like super daunting. And so one of my superpowers is to take something that's so big and complex like that and make it simple and easy and doable and possible, and really take the overwhelm out of it, and just get my clients that I work with just to focus on, like, this is what we're doing this week. Trust the process, trust the plan. We'll get to everything, and just make it simple and easy. So that's kind of how I work with my clients. And it's really good because, especially for like the coaches who, are more established and they have teams, they want to be out there. They want to be speaking. They want to be selling. They want to be filling their events. They don't want to be continually, worrying about, is their team doing everything? Is everything getting done? And they just really want to focus on to continue scaling their business and have profitable launches. And that's really what they should be focusing on, not on the little nitty gritty details. They want to just make sure it's taken care of. So with them, I project manage their program launches and their events, and I really organizing with their team to make sure everything's getting done. And then if it's a sort of like a newer coach who's starting to scale, they're starting to do group programs, or maybe they've done a few, or they're wanting to do gift giveaways or summits or things like that. Mm-hmm. So I work with them, and with them it's more sort of like hand holding, one-on-one, maybe with their VA, or I might bring an assistant to help us out, and just really help them get focused and structured and organized, and not get so lost in all that overwhelm I was already talking about. So, and I do the tech stuff for them too. If they need the techie stuff done, I can do that, because I know that can be a huge blocker.
God love you. As you are talking about this right this minute, I am building out a launch, and it's daunting. And the worst part is I've been chipping away at it, but I didn't give myself enough runway. So like I wanted my partners to launch on next week on Wednesday, and that's just not going to happen, because maybe if I don't sleep for the next 48 hours, I can get it all built. But I think, for me, it's become fun. The first couple times that I did it, it was really, I was way in over my head. It was an absolute freaking nightmare. I didn't know how to project manage the team. The team didn't know how to project manage themselves. The second time I did it, I hired a done for you service, but then I made the big mistake of like abdicating, like, you guys do it, but I wasn't all that available like to make decisions, and they would come and ask me to make decisions, and I was like, I don't know, like, do you want it to be like this way or that way? And I'm like, well, I don't know, because I don't have enough, I didn't feel like I had enough experience to know, red pen, blue pen, green pen, orange pen. I don't know. Like, do I want the button to be green or orange? I don't care. There's
Right.
all these sorts of decisions
So
that teams need made, and I wasn't sure how to do it. And so this is my third go round, and I'm taking all of the pain and torture and failure and just trying to figure it out.
yeah.
And after this one, guess who's not running my launches, and guess who is running my launches? Because at least, I mean, it's not going to be a beautiful, glorious thing, I don't think. And I'm only having a few dear partners who really don't care how badly how much we win or how much we don't win, on the tech side of it. But I feel like, once you either need to learn through the school of hard knocks, or, hire an Elisa and work with someone who can walk you through and help you make those decisions, and communicate well on the way. But
Yeah.
I'm working on the affiliate thing right now. Like, okay, do you want one link and then you manually change it like 18 times through the launch? Or do you want to
Automate everything.
oh my God. Oh my God. So,
Yeah.
but I'm finding it entertaining. So,
Mm.
aside from getting in over their heads, let's just talk. My audience tends to be sort of the solo that is looking to scale. And so, they're building partnerships. They're starting to understand they've got their nexus in place. They've got some right fit advocates and some right fit allies. And, they're kind of like, I think I could do one of these. In your mind, what are a couple of the big rocks that you need to know that you need to have in place before you start lining this whole thing up, so that you have enough runway to get up and off the ground with it?
Yeah, I think like exactly what you were talking about is usually the first thing I get people to work on is actually like building those partnerships, those relationships, getting those referrals. And I think because that can really take time, right? So if you meet people, you want to have like your good partners to help you promote. And sometimes, if you have certain partners, they may or even like strategic alliance, whatever, like affiliates, there's so many different words for them and so many different
Right.
levels. But you kind of want to get on their calendar early because some people are booked up for like 6 months and they're like, I can't promote you until then. So, and also like you want to make sure that, that you are in a good relationship with them. And that can take time. So yeah, always start building those relationships so you can get on their calendar and have those conversations, and also how you can support them. So I think that's kind of one of the big things. And the next one I always talk about is growing your reach. So getting on things like gift giveaways, speaking on summits, and also lining up your speaking gigs, because sometimes those can be a few months out. So you want to have
Mhm.
speaking as part of your launch. So book those speaking gigs and start getting more people into your world. Start, growing your LinkedIn followers, get your lead magnet out there, and get more people into your world, because then you'll have more people to invite to your event, so that you can, have more people to sell your amazing program to. So those are kind of like the first sort of like chunks that I like to get people started on early. And I feel like sometimes if people come to me and they're like, oh, I want to launch in 6 weeks. And I think, okay, that's possible, but I think it's a little too late for the speaking gigs and like that's like the 6 week part is when you're actually like doing all the tech and you're like getting the event and you're promoting and so like that's when you're really in the trenches. And so
The
I,
the notion of 6 weeks just made me throw up a little bit in my mouth. Like
yeah,
like you can't even get even with AI, like the first launch I did, I think I mean, I paid massive amounts of money to Kimberly Whitecamp to write it, and she was worth every nickel, right? Because
yeah,
she
she's great.
interviews you, and when Kimberly writes for me, you can't tell the difference about who's speaking. She's that good, and she doesn't do it for people anymore. And if she does, you're going to pay her 10 times what I paid her. Like, she's like, sure, for $1 million, I will write you a launch, right? Like, but with AI, it's faster, but I'm still finding that, a good email that captures your voice, that says what you want it to say, that positions things properly. You can't just be like, hey, Claude, Jasper, write me a thing, and then take that first thing and slap it up there. You have to work with it. You have to have this conversation and really read it and be like, see, between these two, it doesn't make sense. Like the human brain isn't going to follow that. And so,
and that's just one email
that's
of many emails that you need to have.
and if you're doing one of these complex thingies, like, I'm going to do an ebook, and then I'm going to do a webinar, and then I'm going to do a master class, and then I'm going to do cart open. Well, just like every one of those pieces has 3 to 5 emails that need to go with it. Then you've got your cart open, cart continuation, FAQs, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's 25 to 30 emails at a minimum. So if you're thinking like, oh, I think I'm going to go launch in 6 weeks, sure, if you've got all of the pieces in place, you've got partners, you've got copy, somebody can set the tech up in 6 weeks and test it and make sure it works. But
possible. Yeah.
but
even that, setting up the tech, like, you have to go all the copy for the landing pages too, right? And like, especially for your program, when you are sending out those cart open, cart close emails, they're going to go to your landing page. Like, I know with me, I've gone to someone's landing page for their program, and I've read through the entire thing so many times, because if I was sort of on the fence with it or not, I would go back to that page over and over again. So you really want to make sure that that's really, really well done, and you got to spend the time creating that. And
Right.
and it takes, and you're right. And you don't just want to use AI for everything. You got to really, because your program the best. And that's one thing that with the project management that I do, and I tell people, they're like, oh, well, you do everything. I was like, no, I don't do everything, because I'm not going to write your copy, because your program, your voice, your avatar, your ideal client. Like, there's no way that I can do that for you. So that's something that they always have to bring for me. And that's also part of what I do, in terms of like getting things from everybody. That's something that I'm also quite good at, is some people talk about it being like the herding of the cats, if
the herding of the cat,
getting all the information and be like, this person needs this, I need this from you. And like all the reminders to get things from everybody, so it can be successful.
It really is. It really is insane. I know I have a lot of clients who come in very early stage, where, maybe they have a list size of 300 and they've coached a couple clients, and they're like, I'm going to do a launch. And I'm like, oh, with all due respect, how about not? Like, unless you were a project manager in another life, or you have, you're ready to hire someone to build it for you and walk you through it and hold your hand through it. I really would like to think of what you do for an earlier stage entrepreneur. You pay somebody like Elisa, because it's an education. It's like taking a college course, a semester. It should be, it really, think of it as a semester course, right? With a private tutor who is taking you through this process of backward building, right? Building, like, we know, like, I hit, I get to the landing page, I click the button takes me to a form, I click submit, that takes me to a little landing page. There's a cute little video with a go check your inbox. And then there's a bunch of emails. Like, we know from the experience from the front to the back. Right?
Yes. End to end.
But you can't build the launch that way. You don't build the launch from the final forward facing piece to the end. You have to, like, the first thing I spent 3 days doing, Elisa, was building tags, naming conventions, forms, like all of the little bits and pieces that are tedious, when you're going through it, but you don't really know you need to do it, and you don't really know how to catalog it. Like,
and I love that you're saying that. Yeah. You got to get it organized, because sometimes I come into a launch with someone sort of half done things, and they bring me in, and then I'm just like, it can be a bit of a mess, and you really want to, that's something that I like to help people with as well, is kind of streamline them, become more efficient, get things organized, like you were just saying, cataloging it, like filing things so you can find it again. Because that's something I really like to do, is like, once you get a good launch process, you can rinse and repeat it.
Right.
So the first time can take some time because you want to like set up templates and things like that, and even like have, yeah, your naming convention and your structure and things like that that you can reuse next time, so it'll be a lot more streamlined.
I love that. And that's another thing to think about. So not only are when you're deciding to do this, not only are you investing in essentially a semester long course on how to build your business using this kind of strategy, but you're also investing in infrastructure in your business that will then pay you over and over and over again, which is where the leverage is. But there, the time and the effort, the focus and the cost are front loaded. Now, most entrepreneurs that are doing their first launch have probably been handling a lot of tech on their own and not doing a great job, because let's face it, we're good at what we're good at, but we're not good. We're good enough at that, right? But not great. And so when you're wanting to do something like this, or you're wanting to hire somebody, you're ready to automate some processes, you've got to hire somebody.
Yeah.
And anybody who's been there, like I have hired probably a dozen people, and so far, knock on wood, I found one that I love and I've kept for a year. But I've, when I've hired VAs, when I've hired office managers, when I've hired those sorts of people, I've made a lot of mistakes and invested a lot of time and money that really wasn't leveraged for me. And I know you have a tool that you are generous enough to just give away, to share with us a little bit more about how to hire. So talk a little bit about the tool.
Yeah. So, yeah, like you were just saying, it's outsourcing can be a huge lifesaver, especially like if you hate the tech, or you just like dread doing it, or you don't want to learn it, or it's going to take so much of your time. But it can be risky, right? And I think that we've heard some horror stories in the industry about, you think that someone's doing something for you, you hire someone to build your website, and 6 months later, there's nothing to show for it, and you spent all this money. And so, what I think we really need to do is kind of like protect ourselves, and go to this meeting. If you want to hire someone to do something for you, you really want to come prepared with it. And it's kind of interesting because it's sort of like a reverse concept, because usually the person who has the done for you offering, they're selling you, but actually you want to interview them as well. And I would say you want to really come prepared with stuff. And so, yeah, so I have this guide that kind of goes through that. So it tells you the prep work that you need to do, so all the information that you need to have, and the decisions that you need to make, because you want to come prepared, being like, this is exactly what I need. Can you deliver it for me? And then I have a checklist of some questions that you can ask, to make sure that they're the right fit for you. And there's some things in there that maybe you didn't think about. And there's some things like a question that could be, a red flag that comes up, and you'd be like, oh, they couldn't answer this, or they don't tell me what technology platforms they're using, but like, I need to know that they know how to use my tech platform, or else it's probably going to take twice as long. And so, yeah, so it's just a thing for you to come prepared with, and to answer questions, and just so that you can make an informed decision. And I think that's what is really important, because like you said, you can hire so many people, but there's one person that you loved and worked really well, and you'll work with them again and again. And so you really want to make sure that you do hire that right person, hire smart, and avoid being scammed. I never want that for anybody, and just really feel confident in your decision. And also you want to like get to know that person a little bit, and see if you're going to work well together, because some people just don't work well. They're just sort of on different levels, or they just do things differently. And so, yeah, so I would say really take the time to hire that tech person and ask them the right questions.
I love that. And I'm grateful that there's a guide for it. And I'm grateful because proper planning, right? That
Yeah.
it's not just jumping in. I have been most of my life jump in the pool and worry about the water later, like worry about the water level afterwards. I'm turning 60, and I'm like, I kind of don't, I kind of don't want to land on that concrete, that concrete anymore. I really want to know that there's a trampoline at the bottom or something, right? That's going to break
Or
my
deep
fall.
enough.
I want there to be
Yeah.
some water. I really, really want there to be some water in the pool. And so, so I think it's really smart for people to have it. and don't wait to grab something like that, to have that in your arsenal, in your library of how to's, until you all of a sudden need it. Because the minute you think you need it, you're gonna be like, oh man, I saw that thing on LinkedIn, and there's this video, and oh God, what was that lady's name? And God, I know, right? And you don't have it. You don't have it. So uh, my advice to everybody is always, when you see something that's about a part of your business that you aren't ready for yet, or are just getting ready to do, it's always best to get it earlier than later, review it a few times sooner than later, because the School of Hard Knocks is pretty costly, and your wonderful gift is free. So what is the name of your tool? Does it have a super sexy name?
I don't know if it's super sexy, but it's called the Coach's Checklist to Hiring Trustworthy Tech Pros.
I love it. I love it. Say it one more time.
The Coach's Checklist for Hiring Trustworthy Tech Pros.
The Coach's Checklist for Hiring Trustworthy Tech Pros. Take it from me. You want the checklist, because when you hire wrong, it's really expensive. And when you hire right, it's an investment that pays you time and time again. So, Elisa, thanks for spending time with me on LinkedIn. And I'm looking forward to connecting more and doing more and fun things in the coming
Thank
year.
you so much for having me on here, and for letting me talk about this. Is like, I think it's a really good subject that maybe not everybody talks about. People are just like, just do this for me, but there really is some stuff that needs to get done before that. So thank you for letting me share.
Nothing, I just don't think there really is anything such as completely done for you. We all are the CEO of our businesses, and we all have to make decisions, and we all have to have a vague idea to some extent of what's going on. And somebody said to me, well, Elon Musk doesn't know who mops his floors. And I said, no, but he knows the manager who knows the guy who mops the floors, right? But as solo entrepreneurs, we are the managers of all of the departments. We don't have managers of the departments until we hire Elisa, and then she manages that department for us. But we still have to talk to Elisa. We still have to be in contact with her. She still needs decisions to make. There are things that you don't make on your own, right? We need to be, as the entrepreneur, informed of what's going on and what decisions need to be made in order for things to go smoothly. So I look forward to grabbing that checklist, and I know that other folks are going to benefit from it as well. So thanks a million.
Thank you, and thanks so much for doing this giveaway, for the opportunity of being in it.
Yay.
I think it's awesome. I think everybody should just go sign up.
Yay! We'll see you the next time. Thanks, Elisa.